Ending Hunger in Maine by 2030. State of Maine 129th Legislature, Second Regular Session. Report as requested. LD1159 Resolve to end hunger in Maine by 2030. Respectfully submitted, February 10th, 2020. State of Maine 129th Legislature, Second Regular Session. Report as requested. LD1159 Resolve to end hunger in Maine by 2030. Respectfully submitted, February 10th, 2020. Advisory Group Members: Amanda Beal, Commissioner, Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. Walter Beasley, Child Nutrition Director, Maine Department of Education. Kevin Concanon, Advisor on Food and Nutrition Programs. Patricia Dushuttle, Special Projects Manager, Maine Department of Health and Human Services. Kate Friedman, Food Programs Director, Healthy Acadia. Scott Haman, Case Manager, Knox County Homeless Coalition. James Hanna, Executive Director, Cumberland County Food Security Council. Representative Craig Hickman, House Representative and Co-Chair of the Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, LD 1159 sponsor. Emily Horton, Director of Policy and Community Engagement, Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. Kathy Kilrain Del Rio, Director of Campaigns and Healthcare Advocacy, Maine Equal Justice. Craig Lapine, Food Security Advocate. Kristen Mial, President, Good Shepherd Food Bank. Joe Morrissey, Program Manager, Maine Shared Community Health Needs Assessment. Donna Murray, Program Manager, Maine Senior Farm Share Program, Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. Teresa Alexu, Food Security Advocate. Ginger Robert Scott, Director, Maine WIC Nutrition Program, Department of Health and Human Services. Sherry Stevens, Community Relations Manager, Hannaford Supermarkets. Daoud Umar, Food Security Advocate. Frank Wertheim, Extension Educator, Agriculture, Horticulture, University of Maine Cooperative Extension. Project Lead and Other Resources: Penelope Jordan, Project Lead, Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry. Eric Day, Student Intern, University of Southern Maine Food Studies Program. Amy Carrington, Program Specialist, University of Southern Maine Food Studies Program. Table of Contents. Contents. Table of Contents, page 3. Approach, page 4. Definitions, page 6. The nature and scale of the problem, page 7. Ending hunger in Maine, page 13. Priority 1. Ensure all people have consistent access to healthful, culturally appropriate food, page 13. Priority 2. Address systemic changes by eliminating root causes of hunger and food insecurity, page 14. Strategic Plan Development Process, page 17. Timeline for creating a plan and defining the path to end hunger by 2030, page 17. Estimated Budget, page 20. Appendix A, Previous Work to Address Hunger, page 21. Appendix B, Federal Hunger Relief Programs, page 23. Appendix C, Good Shepherd Food Bank's Partner Types by County, page 26. Appendix D, The Lifelong Impacts of Food Insecurity, page 27. Appendix E, Food Insecurity Variances by Population, page 28. Appendix F, Resolve to End Hunger in Maine by 2030, page 29. Sources, page 31. Endnotes, page 33. Approach. By adopting LD 1159 in the 129th State Legislature, which was then signed by Governor Mills, Maine has embraced a bold vision to end hunger by 2030. This report defines a process through which we can create a measurable, achievable, and action-oriented strategic plan for making that vision a reality. As instructed by LD 1159, over the past several months and by using existing resources, the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry has convened, interviewed, or otherwise engaged representatives from numerous state departments, nonprofits, businesses, and other stakeholders to inform our understanding of the scope and drivers of hunger in Maine today, and what opportunities exist, or needed to be developed, to end hunger by 2030. As mandated by LD1159, this report serves as a summary of that work to date and lays out initial details of the design for a comprehensive strategic plan and additional resources needed to carry out a full strategic planning process. This document was developed through interviews, research, and engagement with many people already working to address hunger and food insecurity across the state. It is intended to provide a high-level view of the extent of hunger and food insecurity in Maine and the potential systems that seek to address these issues. This work began by rooting itself in earlier efforts by various entities in the state to address hunger. Reports and briefs by Maine organizations and agencies covering topics on child hunger, senior hunger, health issues resulting from hunger, homelessness, closing Maine's meal gap, the importance of federal programs, and many other related topics were gathered and reviewed. See Appendix A. This process sought to leverage and incorporate the research and good thinking of these many previous efforts. However, the irony is that the same problems surrounding education, jobs, affordable housing, income disparity, health issues, and child and senior hunger are highlighted in each report. Yet, we have not ended hunger. Instead, Maine has seen the expansion of a charitable food system. This process identified over 100 people from across the state currently working to close the gap on hunger and food insecurity. Over 45 of these people sat for individual interviews or were part of larger group discussions. The intent was to gain a broad understanding of the work happening today, to identify issues and collect ideas for change in order to inform a path forward. An advisory group made up of representatives of various state departments, organizations, and agencies, and people that have experienced food insecurity met 3 times. In addition, many members were available outside of the formal meetings to provide information, review documents, and offer insights throughout this process. Research on the role that federal food nutrition programs play in Maine was supported by an intern from the University of Southern Maine's Muskie School of Public Policy. Statistics were also gathered by a member of the University of Southern Maine's Food Studies program staff. The contributions these individuals provided were invaluable to this report and the work of the advisory group. As we look forward to the next steps toward completing a strategic plan to end hunger by 2030, we recognize the need to dig deeper into our communities and understand how strategies to address rural hunger may differ from urban strategies. We will need to more fully engage veterans, tribal members, people experiencing food insecurity, those previously incarcerated, immigrants and refugees, and other marginalized populations. We need to develop strategies that consider the varied needs of different populations of Maine. We need to gain a firmer understanding of best practices being implemented to address near-term food insecurity needs and those that are addressing the more systemic issues surrounding hunger and food insecurity. We also need to look to other states to learn more about how they are seeking to address the issues of hunger and food insecurity. In addition, we need to continually recognize that federal programs are vulnerable to political shifts and changes in program eligibility, and we'll need to factor this in as we move forward in our work to end hunger. Definitions. Definitions that guided the development of this report include food insecurity. A lack of consistent access to enough food for an active, healthy life due to a lack of available financial resources for food at the household level. U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA. Hunger. A personal physical sensation of discomfort that may result from food insecurity. USDA. End of hunger. The state of Maine is considered hunger-free when the annual USDA food security measure finds for more than 2 consecutive years that 96% of households in Maine are food secure and no households are experiencing hunger, subsequently relabeled very low food insecurity. The threshold is set at 96% because social and economic circumstances are such that some risk of hunger will always be present as changes in household structure, health conditions, employment situation, and other related circumstances cause interruptions in income, mobility, and access to adequate amounts of nutritious food. Definition developed by Maine's Millennium Commission on Hunger and Food Security, 2002. The nature and scale of the problem. Hunger is impacting hundreds of thousands of Maine people today and jeopardizing the vitality of our communities and economy for years to come. More than a third of our state's households subsist with below livable incomes, see Table 1. That means they are either actively experiencing or are at risk for hunger. This includes 40% of households with seniors, nearly half the households in our most rural counties, Aroostook and Washington, and a shocking 2/3 of single-parent households. Hunger and food insecurity touch every community across Maine's 16 counties. It is estimated that over 185,000 people, see Table 2, across the state experience food insecurity each day. Our neighbors, co-workers, the parents, children, and teachers in our schools, and perhaps you as well. Looking outside additional context, the USDA has ranked our state as having the highest food insecurity rate of all New England states, and records Maine as the 9th most food insecure state in the nation. There are many factors that contribute to food insecurity in Maine. The scarcity of livable wage jobs, high housing and heating costs, an aging population, and high medical costs. Life events such as divorce, addiction, job loss, and disability can be drivers as well. Appendix E highlights the percent of food insecurity by population demographic. Hunger is a crisis in Maine today, and hunger threatens a thriving and vibrant Maine tomorrow. Hunger impacts individual well-being and physical health, academic success, and economic advancement, and can overall impact the community's ability to thrive. Table 2 identifies the 3 counties that have the greatest number of people experiencing hunger and food insecurity, as highlighted in blue, noted with asterisks. The same table also identifies the 4 counties with the greatest percentage of people experiencing hunger and food insecurity, as highlighted in orange, or noted with double asterisks. The greatest number of those who experience food insecurity live in Cumberland and York counties, 62,369 people. Conversely, 25% of Maine's counties contain over 16% of people who experience food insecurity. With 1 in 5 people experiencing food insecurity, this has a significant impact on those communities. Viewed in this light, it is no exaggeration to state that hunger knows no bounds in Maine. It impacts young and old, lifelong residents and recent arrivals, our most urban and our most rural communities. Food insecurity and poverty go hand in hand, and the most direct way to end hunger for a significant number of people in our state is for them to have the resources needed to purchase healthy food and other basic necessities. This means addressing the lack of jobs that provide a living wage and implementing strategies for making childcare, healthcare, and transportation affordable and accessible so all Mainers can live vibrant, healthy, and active lives. The 2019 Maine Shared Community Health Needs Assessment Report identified social determinants of health as a priority for the first time in the collaborative's history. Specifically, the final report describes food insecurity as a significant concern, especially for youth, low-income families, and older adults. The community members who raised this issue have witnessed what the research tells us. Those with food insecurity are more likely to have hypertension, coronary heart disease, hepatitis, stroke, cancer, asthma, diabetes, arthritis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and kidney disease. These health outcomes cost us all in terms of quality of life, lost productivity, healthcare expenditures. For instance, food insecurity is a strong predictor of increased emergency room and office visits, as well as costs associated with ongoing chronic disease management. It is estimated that an individual who experiences food insecurity incurs an additional $1,863 in healthcare expenditures annually. Extra healthcare expenditures for those faced with food insecurity dramatically increase for an adult with heart disease, $5,144, diabetes, $4,414, or hypertension, $2,176 when compared to a food-secure adult. As shown in Table 3, the Maine Center for Economic Policy estimates food insecurity costs us $629 million in healthcare services annually. It is not just the hungry who suffer. As a state, we know we need to stimulate economic growth, yet we inhibit our own success when each day thousands of children show up to school too hungry to learn, where thousands of workers are too economically insecure to thrive, and where millions of healthcare dollars are being spent on entirely preventable effects of poverty. This study estimates the total cost of food insecurity on Maine's economy at $709 million annually, see Table 3, in addition to the hundreds of millions of public and philanthropic dollars spent on anti-hunger programs. Below is a summary of the federal and charitable programs that currently seek to address the issue of hunger across Maine. Federal programs. The federal government plays a significant role in addressing food insecurity. There are 15 key federal programs that target nutrition and food insecurity. Table 4 highlights the federal dollars associated with 14 of these programs. See Appendix B for a more detailed description of these programs, including the agencies responsible for administering and overseeing these programs in Maine. The most significant federal program is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, previously known as food stamps. SNAP is our nation's most effective anti-hunger program, and in Maine accounts for over $219 million, 71.3%, of federal food assistance. SNAP is used by single mothers, seniors, the disabled, children, people who are employed, and many others. The USDA states that over 167,800 people receive SNAP benefits in Maine, which includes more than 89,200 households and equates to over 62.4 million meals. Benefits provide an average of $3.50 per person per day, which many argue is not adequate to provide nutritional meals. A survey of food pantry clients conducted by Good Shepherd Food Bank in Preble Street in 2017 found that on average, SNAP benefits run out between day 1 and day 15, the month the benefit is received. Even with the significant dollars from SNAP, 37% of our food insecure residents do not qualify for SNAP. In Maine, SNAP is administered by the Department of Health and Human Services. While the USDA provides much guidance and rules on how the program is administered, states have some flexibility that impacts the program's accessibility and eligibility. This is an area of opportunity when considering how to end hunger in Maine. SNAP has many advantages over charitable food programs. It does not depend on a separate distribution system. People are able to access food at most any grocery outlet, and they are allowed the dignity to make their own food choices. SNAP has a significant impact on food insecurity, which can be complemented with education on budgeting, food purchasing, and cooking. SNAP also has an economic impact on communities across Maine. According to the Maine Center for Economic Policy, it is estimated that for every SNAP spent, there is a multiple effect equivalent of $1.73 of economic activity impact. Using this multiplier means that Maine's $218 million in annual SNAP benefits accounts for over $370 million in total economic impact. In 2018, SNAP accounted for 6% of all grocery store sales in the state. In some counties, it played an even greater role. In Somerset County, SNAP benefits accounted for 18% of all grocery store sales. In Androscoggin and Oxford counties, 13% of all grocery store sales were paid for with SNAP dollars. Another federal program, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, WIC, is for pregnant and breastfeeding women and children up to age 5 and works to ensure healthy children both cognitively and physically. The WIC program recognizes that a child's health needs start early, see Appendix D. The program has been proven to reduce low birth weight and preterm labor. In Maine, WIC is administered by the Department of Health and Human Services. Once children are entering school, there are school nutrition programs that ensure students are fed and ready to learn. The 6 federal child nutrition programs identified in Table 4 seek to ensure that children have access to breakfast, lunch, snacks, after-school meals, and summer programs that provide meals. In Maine, the school nutrition programs and the child and adult care program are all administered by the Department of Education. Like SNAP, these programs have guidelines and rules set by the USDA. However, state policies and local district initiatives can have a significant impact on eligibility, as evidenced by the wide disparity in participation rates for these programs across school districts in Maine. In 2015, the Task Force to End Student Hunger delivered their report to the 126th Legislature, outlining actions needed to address child hunger. This resulted in a focus on leveraging federal dollars and expanding programs to include snack, after-school, and summer nutrition programs. However, expansion in this area still presents a significant opportunity to address hunger in Maine. The USDA provides funding for two direct food programs, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, TEFAP, and the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, CSFP. TEFAP is for qualified low-income families. CSFP is for qualified low-income seniors. For both programs, food is purchased by the USDA and shipped to states to be distributed to qualified families. In Maine, the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry administers both programs and contracts with Good Shepherd Food Bank to manage the warehousing and distribution for most of the programs. For both programs, community partners, including food pantries and the area agencies on aging, perform the direct distribution of the food to the recipients. Meals on Wheels is managed through the Department of Health and Human Services Maine Office of Aging and Disability Services. Seniors over the age of 60 and individuals with disabilities receive nutritious home-delivered meals by a volunteer who visits and performs a safety check. Priority is given to those with the greatest social and economic need. There are over 400 people on the waitlist at any given time. The cost of this program for 2019, over $1.6 million, federal, state, local, and private dollars, for almost 5,000 homebound participants. The Maine Department of Corrections, DOC, in coordination with the University of Maine Cooperative Extension, offers a Master Gardener program to inmates. Participants in this program not only learn transferable skills, but they grow food for the prison kitchens as well as food pantries in the surrounding areas. The DOC is seeking to expand food production and processing and thus move more food to the food pantries. Charitable programs. As large and robust as the federal response to hunger has sometimes been, it has not kept pace with the need. In response, charitable food programs emerged in the early 1980s. The charitable hunger model relies on food banks to source large volumes of mostly donated food and then distribute that food to community-based programs, most commonly food pantries, to hand out directly to food insecure people in their communities. Established in 1981, Good Shepherd Food Bank, GSFB, is Maine's only food bank operating on a statewide basis. GSFB partners with Catholic Charities Food Bank to serve Aroostook County. GSFB's network includes 254 food pantries, 88 healthcare programs, and 126 school-based food pantries. See Appendix C for breakdown by type and county. In addition, there are several food pantries known to operate outside of the GSFB network. Foodpantries.org estimates there are over 290 food pantries in Maine, and Maine food security advocates speculate that this number may be low. All of these programs are working to address hunger and food insecurity affecting 185,000 people across all of Maine's 6 counties. Even after the federal programs, there remains a meal gap of over 33 million meals annually. Charitable programs are currently only meeting 68% of the gap, leaving a gap of over 10 million meals annually. The current system for addressing hunger is absolutely necessary and by and large effective in achieving what it sets out to do, making sure vulnerable Maine people have some food on the table. However, it suffers from a number of shortcomings. It is focused nearly entirely on the symptom of hunger rather than its root causes. The public charitable patchwork is not well coordinated. The charitable system is dependent on philanthropic giving, which makes it vulnerable to economic variables. Developing a strategic plan for ending hunger will allow Maine to unify its efforts around data-driven best practices and leverage these practices in a collaborative and measurable way. Hunger is not a result of individual choices, but a product of an underperforming political and economic system. It's time for a coordinated, results-based plan to end hunger in Maine.